Hello and welcome to the first PianoTurtle X piano tutorial. Today it's going to be all about learning to read notes and identify them in under 2 minutes. Now this video is not 2 minutes, but there will be a 2-minute segment. Alright, but first I want to introduce to you the idea and the attitude of the unlimited. The purpose and attitude of piano unlimited is to undo limitations. So with an open mind, without fear, and the faith in yourself, you can be without limits in creative ways. The dash between the un and the limited is very important. To say that we have no limits, no dash, unlimited, is rather presumptuous, right? Even Superman caved to kryptonite. But we still should think unlimited makes no difference to the mind. When you say that word unlimited, the mind receives it as a very positive feedback. Acknowledging our limitations keeps us humble. Undoing the limitations help us grow. The mentality of unlimited can help us get through some of the toughest of times. Okay, let's move on to reading and identifying notes. What if bass clef is not more difficult? What if you don't have to memorize English lines and different sentences for different clefs? What if something that is unforgettable helps you read both clefs and beyond? What if it is actually easier and simpler than most conventional methods? Well, we're going to explore all that in this video. Treble clef is often easier to read than the bass clef for pianists. Comment below if you have had that experience. Why is it more difficult? Because the clefs are treated differently. Face and every good boy does fine, or such lines, acronyms and sentences. They're great methods. They're creative, they are fun, and it allows instant memory of the placement of those notes. Identifying them is almost effortless once you memorize those lines. It is quite easy. Millions can learn it. But like all methods, it has limitations. So let's talk about limitations. For example, limitation 1. It is for those who understand basic English. I'm not saying that that's a challenge. I am saying that many around the world will not think to use English when they don't speak it. So maybe billions will not think to use English to read notes. I didn't speak English. So for me, to memorize lines in English forming sentences to help learn notes was not even part of my awareness. I still don't know the sentences for bass clef, as strange as that sounds. I had learned them, of course. I had even taught it as an experiment. But since my mind don't think about it, it is lost. On a grander scale, limitation 2 is that memorizing letters on the exact lines and spaces causes a fixed mind state, where when clefs switch to those outside of the treble and bass clef, the mind may not be flexible enough to make the switch. Tenor and alto clef becomes a challenge. Transposing instruments? Forget about it. Now, this information is precisely for beginners, though I may not teach it the exact same way to those that are younger. Just in case they ever want to read alto and tenor clef and transposing instruments. The younger students may not know what they want yet, but just in case they ever want to read alto and tenor clef and transposing instruments, why not train them with a flexible mentality? Why train the mind one way only to work extra hard later to add information, or worse, reverse existing mindsets? With that said, I am in favor of the growth mind mentality rather than a fixed mind mentality, because such reversals of mentalities are inevitable. I change my mind often when necessary. How do we unlimit those limitations for reading notes? You need to know 3 things. These things are common knowledge or talents, not musical knowledge or talents. I just heard a friend say this last week, that she does not have any musical talent, True or not, don't convince your mind repeatedly of those sayings that can limit yourself. Negative self-talk is the opposite of undoing limitations. The 3 common things is this. First thing is to know the number 2. Numbers are not limited by language, and I assume everyone can remember the number 2. Side note, I teach in a manner where I assume you know until you tell me you don't know. I was once told how to open a refrigerator door simply because it's a new model. Number 2, know your directions. That is also, I assume, universal. We already know what is up, what is down, top, bottom, above, below, left, right, north, south, east, west. In the case of a keyboard, up is right and down is left. So you got to know your directions. Number 3, know your alphabet, A through G only. Know them forwards and backwards. Backwards may require a few memory tests, but not absolutely necessary. When in doubt, go forward. It's okay. Take your time. Here's a tip for learning it backwards though. Write it out. Write out the letters. Read it in a group of 3 and 4 backwards. G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Repeat again. G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Do a memory test 3 times, followed by a memory test. If not memorized, do the drill again until memorized. Fear not if you're not comfortable going backwards. Let familiarity slowly develop. That is it. Those are the 3 things. Now let's see how those 3 things work together to help you identify notes. How to identify notes in an unlimited manner for all clefs and potentially transposing instruments. Guide notes. Now follow me for the next 2 minutes or less. This is it. This is the lesson right here. And you will be able to read all the notes in the grand staff. Here we go. For treble clef, which is the top clef, second space from the top is C. 2 little lines. We also call them ledger lines, but for younger students, I call them little lines. Right there is also C. Now let's go to the bass clef. For the bass clef, second space from the bottom is C. Bass clef, bottom. Go from the bottom. 2 ledger lines going down, bass clef going down, is also C. If you fold the paper in the middle, all the C's meet each other. They are therefore the same. So in a way, treble and bass clef, they're the same. Just like when you look into a mirror, you're reversed, but it's still you. And then in between both clefs, there are 2 middle C's, 1 for each clef. They are the same, so it can be seen as an exception, but technically 1 is for the treble and 1 is for the bass. Those 6 C's are your guide notes. Some call it landmark notes and other fancier terms, but since they guide you, I'm just going to call it guide notes. Do a memory test right now and think too. See if you can find on music paper all the C's. Were you able to do it with 1 try? Comment below. If not, do a 2nd try, a 3rd try. It doesn't matter how many tries. Now to find the rest of the notes, I offer up 3 drills. With the guide notes, it's all about going up or going down. If you know solfege, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, or ti, do in America, you may be able to memorize it up and down faster. C, D, E, F, G, A, B may not roll off the tongue as easy as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay? Drill number 1. From any C, in any clef, simply go up and then go down. C, D, E, F, G. Go back to A, B, and then you will meet C again. Keep going, or you can go backwards. For this drill, take as many tries as you need. Comment how many tries it took you to identify those notes. Trust me on this. I do not read every note because reading every note slows me down. Just like I do not read every letter of words that I see. I don't spell it out in my mind. That's not how my mind works. So what I'm actually teaching is that spot a guide note, identify it, and then read the shapes or patterns of what the notes make. And that is your vocabulary for sight reading. That is it for drill number 1. Don't worry about memorizing all the notes. You don't have to have a perfect memory of where G is. As long as you can read where C's are and know how to identify a G or an F or a D in different clefs, you're going to be perfectly fine. Being able to solve problems is better than memorizing solutions. Having a dictionary right next to me when I read is better than spending time memorizing the dictionary before I read a single book. Now, for drill 2, try skipping letters or skipping solfege. Say out loud C and then think D, and then say E and then think F and then say G. Do it in your mind, not skipping, but saying it out loud, skipping, and you will create a new memory. C, D, E, F, G, C, E, G, and then go backwards. Now, this is beyond the ability to figure out notes, so extra credit to you if you did it. And please, take your time. How long did it take? Comment below. Side note, I absolutely do not recommend placing stickers or any other helpful gimmicks since it reduces mental activity. It enhances instant gratification, and it promotes, yes, it promotes laziness. Rather, go to the piano and locate the 2 black keys. Again, 2 black keys, and to the left of the 2 black keys is your C. Now you can identify all the C's, and then from there, you can identify the rest of the notes. Either skipping C, E, G, A, C, or D, F, whatever combination you want. Do some mental drills. Now for drill number 3, or level 3. Take any piece of music at any level, Jingle Bells to Rachmaninoff, and name 50 notes at random or in order. Take your time, comment below, let me know how long it took to identify 50 notes. You will see that the level of the piece will not intimidate you if your focus is to just identify 50 letters. Circle and count those notes to keep track if you wish. For the unlimited, I would prefer you just keep naming notes until you're mentally tired. Circle them as you go, but don't count. When tired or actually out of time, don't say you're out of time until you're actually out of time. Unlimit to 10 more. And then count how many circles you did and surprise yourself. Don't forget to reward yourself for your achievements in creative ways. Comment below how you reward yourself. That is it. You can now read and find any note from any piece in any clef. Some final thoughts. This saves time and money. It absolutely does. This is huge because it's not only simpler, it allows the student, especially those who are brand new to reading notes, to think in a way and not even have the awareness of difficulty difference between clefs. And they read ledger line notes with ease since their mind is flexible. And you will absolutely need the flexibility since ledger lines are difficult to define with more sentences. No English lines and sentences exist for the ledger line notes anyway. I have not seen them. Therefore, a change of methods and mindsets is inevitable already. Since we don't want to teach a method and then change it right away for ledger lines, ledger line notes are taught months later and is considered to be more difficult. I've never felt the difference simply because my first teacher, my grandpa, taught me not the middle C, but the other C's first. The middle C is actually only in the middle if both clefs are shown. So visually, it makes sense to the mind as well. Middle C wasn't taught first because it is the exception. This saves weeks and sometimes months depending on what methods you're using. Saving time also means saving cash for lessons. You add up the weeks it takes for you to fully gain control of reading all the clefs possible, and you may well end up losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. The teachers that I had shared this method with adopted it and gave me wonderful news of its success. Success such as never having to teach notes after the first lesson. Such as when asked, students say all clefs are the same because they learn to think intervallically and with existing common knowledge. I say again, all methods have limitations. For this one limitation is that it is not instant. It's not as instant as face and other sentences. What other limitations can you think of? Let me know in the comments below with solutions, please. That is all for today. Thank you for watching.